Uh, Good evening, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back. Uh, as usually, I appreciate you sharing your time with me. Today is January 25th, 2024. January is already gone now. So today I will share some news on video and in reading. So I will start with news I got from Addis Ababa. It's about Kenya National Security Director visiting Ethiopia, and he is welcomed, Mr. Nuruddin Haji, Kenya's National Security and Intelligence Director, welcomed by Ethiopian National Intelligence and Security Service Director, Mr. Tamasgen Turune. So the both directors talk about cooperation between Ethiopia and Kenya on the matters of both countries, security and peace, stability of the region, and to share intelligence and to work together in battling cross-border crimes like human trafficking, weapons transaction, illegal weapons transaction, uh, in sharing knowledge about intelligence. There's several points mentioned. Let me see. They agreed to work on anti-terrorism operation, cross-border crimes, and capacity building between the two countries, human trafficking, and also weapons movement and intelligence sharing. They also talk about consultation on the matters of the regions, especially on peace and security situations, any to fight any threats to the region. So they just showing solidarity. This is is a long time relationship according to this news briefing between Ethiopia and Kenya. They have a long-standing brotherly relationship between the two countries, working on the matter of peace and security, between the two countries, and information sharing and in capacity building between the two nations' intelligence sectors. So in general, is the first video is talking about mutual cooperation between Kenya and Ethiopia in battling, all kind of crimes, the crimes I mentioned. So this is, I don't know this why it's happening now, but it could be a consultation, how to handle oil operation in the region, and maybe Ethiopia is seeking, cooperation from Kenya in battling that front. So we don't know, but it's according to this media, this is about just a regular cooperation and long time, standing together between Kenya and Ethiopia in battling, common challenges in border area and in the eastern bloc. So let's listen. It's in Amharic, but it's roughly is just you know cooperation, in working together in defeating challenges in the Eastern Bloc and between the two countries, Ethiopia and Kenya. Let's listen. You understand if you know Amharic.
ኬንያ የደህንነት ተቋማት ቀጠናዊ ሰላምን ለማረጋገጥ የሚያደርጉትን የመረጃ ልውውጥና የጋራ ኦፕሬሽን አጠናክረው ለመቀጠል ተስማምተዋል።
የኬንያ ናሽናል ኢንተለጀንስ ሰርቪስ ዳይሬክተር ጀነራል ኖርዲ ሃጂ ዛሬ ጠዋት ለይፋዊ የስራ ጉብኝት ቦሌ ዓለም አቀፍ አውሮፕላን ማረፊያ ሲደርሱ የብሔራዊ መረጃና ደህንነት አገልግሎት ዳይሬክተር ጀነራል ተመስገን ጥሩነህና ሌሎች የተቋሙ ከፍተኛ አመራር አቀባበል አድርገውላቸዋል።
የኢትዮጵያና የኬንያ የመረጃና የደህንነት ተቋማት በወቅታዊና ቀጠናዊ ጉዳዮች ምክክር ያደረጉ ሲሆን የብሔራዊ መረጃና ደህንነት አገልግሎት ዳይሬክተር ጀነራል ተመስገን ጥሩነህ ባስተላለፉት መልእክትም የኢትዮጵያና የኬንያ ወንድማማች ሕዝብ ለዘመናት የዘለቀ የአብሮነት ታሪክ እንዳላቸው አስታውሰዋል። የሁለቱ ሀገራት አቻ ተቋማትን ጠንካራ ትብብር እንዳላቸውና ይህንንም አስጠብቀው መዝለቃቸውን ገልጸዋል።
የኢትዮጵያና የኬንያ የመረጃና የደህንነት ተቋማት በመረጃ ልውውጥና በተለያዩ መስኮች የሚያደርጉትን ትብብርም በላቀ ደረጃ ለማስቀጠል ቁርጠኝነት መኖሩን አመላክተዋል። አቶ ተመስገን በዚህም በቀጠናው የሚገኙ ሀገራትን ጥቅም ያማከሉ የአጋርነት ማዕቀፎች የትኩረት ማዕከል እንደሚሆኑ ገልጸዋል።
የኢትዮጵያና የኬንያ አቻ ተቋማት በድንበር ተሻጋሪ ወንጀሎች፣ በአቅም ግንባታ መስኮች፣ በህገወጥ የጦር መሳሪያና የሰዎች ዝውውር ዙሪያ መረጃዎችን በመለዋወጥና የጋራ ኦፕሬሽኖችን በማካሄድ ቀጠናዊ ሰላምና ደህንነትን ለማረጋገጥ ከመቼውም ጊዜ በላይ በትብብር ለመስራት መስማማታቸውን አቶ ተመስገን ጠቁመዋል።
በተለይ ሽብርተኝነትን በመከላከልና በመመከት ረገድ መረጃዎችን ከመለዋወጥና የጋራ ኦፕሬሽኖችን ከመምራት ባለፈ ወቅታዊ የስጋት ምንጮችን በመለየት ተሞክሮችን ለመጋራትና የልምድ ልውውጥ ለማድረግ የሚከናወኑ ተግባራት በላቀ ደረጃ እንደሚጠናከሩ አስታውቀዋል።
የኬንያ ናሽናል ኢንተለጀንስ ሰርቪስ ዳይሬክተር ጀነራል ኖርዲ ሃጂ በበኩላቸው የሁለቱ ሀገራት የመረጃና የደህንነት ተቋማት በሽብርተኝነትና ድንበር ዘለል ወንጀሎችን በጋራ ለመከላከል የተቀናጀ ስምሪት እያካሄዱ መሆናቸውን አመላክተዋል።
በምስራቅ አፍሪካ ቀጠና የሚታዩ የደህንነት ስጋቶችን ለመከላከል የሁለቱ ሀገራት ትብብርና ጥምረት ወሳኝ ሚና አለው ያሉት የኬንያ ናሽናል ኢንተለጀንስ ሰርቪስ ዳይሬክተር ጀነራል ኖርዲ ሃጂ በተለይ ኢትዮጵያ ሽብርተኝነትን በመከላከል ረገድ ያላትን ውጤታማ ተሞክሮ እንደ ግብዓት በመውሰድ የመረጃ ልውውጥና የጋራ ኦፕሬሽኖች ተጠናክረው እንደሚቀጥሉ ጠቁመዋል።
በቀጠናው የሚታዩ የደህንነት ስጋቶችን አስቀድሞ በማወቅ ለመከላከል የሚከናወኑ ቅንጅታዊ ስምሪቶች የጋራ ጥቅምን ለማስጠበቅ ጉልህ ሚና እንዳላቸው ያመለከቱት የኬንያ ናሽናል ኢንተለጀንስ ሰርቪስ ዳይሬክተር ጀነራል ኖርዲ ሃጂ የሁለቱ ሀገራት የመረጃና ደህንነት ተቋማት የትብብርና የአጋርነት መስኮች ከመቼውም ጊዜ በላይ ተጠናክረው እንደሚቀጥሉ አስታውቀዋል።
I'm Jonathan Lawson. In my 15 years at Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company, I've helped.
I will come back to the others video later on. So that is mutual cooperation between Ethiopia and Kenya in fighting human trafficking, illegal weapon crossing, and intelligence sharing, and conduct joint military and intelligence operation against terrorism and cross-border crimes. So that's what they are saying, and the concern may be this cross-border crimes. That's fine. Intelligence sharing between the two countries for the good of the two nations, brotherly nations, concerned citizens need to appreciate, but we don't want Kenya to interfere and support Prosperity Party in the fight against Oromo Liberation Army. I hope Kenyans, they understand, they know what are the causes of this armed group. They have legitimate reason to fight on behalf of Oromo. So I hope they don't interfere in that matter. But in other areas, human trafficking, cross-border crimes, and sharing intelligence, or that can benefit both countries, and also in the Eastern Bloc, which is fine. It's okay. Cooperation is very good if it is for the interest of the people, not for the interest of the few politicians. Okay, let's continue with reading. Here, the first one is I got from Addis Standard. It says armed groups kill 12 members of local government militia from Guji Zone, Oromia region. It says a group of armed forces have killed 12 militiamen from Guji Zone of the Oromia region in southern Ethiopia, officials and residents told Addis Standard. Speaking to Addis Standard, the governor of Tifate village of Sarmale district in the southern Ethiopia region, Muhammad Kitamo, said the militiamen were killed in a sudden attack carried out by armed men suspected to be members of the Oromo Liberation Army, OLA. According to the governor, the attack, which was carried out on Tuesday morning on the border between Guji Zone of Oromia region and the Tifate village of Sarmale district of the southern Ethiopia region, left 2 more militiamen injured. The 2 wounded militiamen were treated at a nearby Kelle hospital. Gazaheng Andasha, a health worker at the hospital, confirmed to Addis Standard. Nabiyu Nagash, a resident of the Tifate village, corroborated that the armed men killed the militiamen and confiscated their weapons, adding that the victims were members of local government militia. Recurring violence between armed groups and government forces in the area have repeatedly claimed the lives of people, according to the resident. Addis Standard's attempt to obtain further information about the incident from Guji Zone's officials have not been successful. As I say, credit for Addis Standard. And so far, Oromo Liberation Army didn't say anything about this accusation. This one is Ambassador Hammer, East Africa Special Envoy. He is in California to have further consultation and engagement with diverse representatives of Ethiopian diaspora. So he is there to engage with Ethiopians. It happened before. Oromos also took part, and the Somalians, the Amaras ignored the invitation that time. I don't know, this time they might engage with him. So appreciate Ambassador Hammer on his effort to settle Ethiopia's crisis. South Africa expects ICJ judgment on Gaza emergency measures on Friday. News 24 cite sources. South Africa expects the International Court of Justice, ICJ, to rule this Friday, that means tomorrow, on whether it will grant emergency measures to stop the war in Gaza. South African news website News 24 reported on Wednesday, citing two sources close to the matter. In response to the newspaper, South Africa's Justice Ministry spokesperson Crispin Fiery posted on X, in quotation, "We do not have an official communication from the court as to when the judgment will be delivered," end of quotation. A spokesperson for Israel's foreign ministry said he was not aware and was looking into it. News 24 said a South African government delegation had touched down in The Hague in anticipation of the judgment. Reuters was unable to immediately confirm the arrival. Earlier this month, South Africa asked the International Court of Justice, also known as the World Court, to order an emergency suspension of Israeli devastating military campaign in the Palestinian enclave, accusing it of carrying out a state-led genocide. Credit Reuters. So we expected what decision this ICJ, International Court of Justice, will deliver tomorrow. I hope they see the reality in the ground in Gaza. Plus, I hope the news coverage. Everything is right there. What the Israelis did to Palestinians, unless they bend the judgment in fear of Israel or the United States, unless that interfere with this judgment, genocide happened. Clearly, it is clearly happened. The whole world is watching, and the destruction, the killing, the abuses, the intimidation against Palestinians, clearly on video. Israeli soldiers target United Nations workers, journalists. You know why? They want to eliminate the evidence. Despite all this effort, despite the killing of all these journalists, UN workers, the evidence is still there. So I hope injection will happen tomorrow. I hope. That is the hope of concerned citizens. So the war will stop, even though everything is destroyed, all lives destroyed, even though. But, still Israel is conducting aggressive military operation in Khan Yunis. Massive killing over there too. Even those people under United Nations flag. This is ridiculous. Biden is supporting this crime, really. This is open genocide. So anything come out, if I have time, if I know, I will bring it to you what this court will decide tomorrow. North Korea says it tested new strategic cruise missile. North Korea said it tested its new strategic cruise missile on Wednesday. State media KCNA reported on Thursday, confirming what the South Korean military said the day before. The missile dubbed, in quotation, Pul Wasal -3-31, end of quotation, is currently under development, and the test firing had no impact on the security of neighboring countries, the state media said, adding it had, in quotation, nothing, end of quotation, to do with the regional situation. The test was also part of the process of updating the country's weapon system, the report said, citing the Missile Administration. South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff said it believed the firing was to test upgrades of existing missiles capabilities. On Wednesday, the South Korean military said the North had fired multiple cruise missiles toward the sea off its west coast at around 7 a.m. 2200 GMT on Tuesday, while Seoul's defense minister Shin Won-sik condemned the launch as a serious threat to his country. The strategic typically refers to nuclear-capable weapons. Credit for this one, Reuters news agency. So that is a tense region. North Korea keep firing weapons and keep advancing its weapon, and also U.S., Korea, South Korea, and Japan also conducting military drills. Let me see what this one says. No, this one is about Russia's top diplomats accused the United States, South Korea, and Japan on Wednesday of preparing for war with North Korea. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told a United Nations news conference that this new military bloc brought together by the United States is building up military activity and conducting large-scale exercises. The United States, South Korea, and Japan have described their combined military drills as defensive in nature and necessary to cope with growing North Korea nuclear threats. All of a sudden, South Korea's rhetoric, in quotation, became even more hostile towards Pyongyang, end of quotation, say Lavrov. In Japan, in quotation again, as well, we hear aggressive rhetoric, end of quotation, and it is serious talking about setting up NATO infrastructure with the US assistance. Lavrov said the objective of the military bloc is clearly stated. In quotation, they are preparing for war with the DPRK, end of quotation, the initial of North Korea's official name, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The Russian minister said the United States and its Asian allies have also been talking about developing their cooperation, in quotation. It is quite wishy-washy the way they phrased it, but they said something like nuclear-related cooperation, end of quotation, he said. Last week, the three countries conducted combined naval exercises involving an American aircraft carrier in their latest show of strength against nuclear-armed North Korea. North Korea leader Kim Jong-un has been on a provocative run of weapons testing and threats that raised regional tensions to their highest point in years. Senior diplomats from the three allies were to meet in Seoul to discuss the worsening standoff with Pyongyang. On the other hand, Lavrov said Russia's relationship with North Korea is, in quotation, proceeding nicely. It is developing quite actively, end of quotation. In quotation again, we see that the DPRK is trying to be independent, not to dance anybody's tune. End of quotation, he said. Kim is one of the few world leaders openly supporting Russia President Vladimir Putin's war on Ukraine. Kim has been actively boosting the visibility of his ties with Russia in an attempt to break out of diplomatic isolation and strengthen his footing as he navigates a deepening nuclear standoff with Washington, Seoul, and Tokyo. When asked about Lavrov's comment, South Korean Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lim Suzuki said they reflected North Korea's, in quotation, constantly false and misleading claims as it tries to shift the blame to the outside world while developing nuclear weapons and missiles under its own schedule. End of quotation. He accused North Korea of further raising tensions with its weapons demonstrations this month, including missile tests and artillery tests firing near a disputed sea boundary with the South. In quotation, our government has consistently expressed a willingness to engage in dialogue with North Korea without any preconditions, end of quotation, Lim said during a briefing. The alignment between Moscow and Pyongyang has raised international concern about alleged arms cooperation. North Korea has been accused of providing Russia with arms supplies to help prolong its war fighting in Ukraine, possibly in exchange for economic assistance and military technology. Both countries have denied accusations by Washington and Seoul that North Korea has been shipping artillery shells, missiles, and other military equipment to Russia in recent months. Putin confirmed his willingness to visit the North Korean capital Pyongyang at a convenient time during his meeting with Kim in Russia's Far East in September. Lavrov said the timing will be decided by the Kremlin. Lavrov compared Kim's recent announcement that North Korea would not pursue a peaceful unification with the South to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's statement saying there will be no Palestinian state after the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. In quotation, it is terrible when, instead of unity, we have trends which divides us, end of quotation, the Russian minister said, in quotation again, and yet this is a systematic process across many regions, and the main contributor to that trend are those who believe to be the masters of the universe, end of quotation. Who are the masters of the universe? Is it the United States? Without naming the United States and former Western colonial powers, he said countries that told others how to live for half a millennium and believe they are, in quotation, master of the universe, end of quotation, ignore the overwhelming majority of ex-colonies and are now independent and want to buttress their culture and religious identity. These ex-colonial states are, in quotation, leaving the West behind, end of quotation, pointing to the BRICS economic bloc of developing economies that includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa countries. The BRIC members have invited Iran, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Ethiopia to join. I think they are already joined. Already they are members. Lavrov said, in quotation, the ex-colonial powers have to face up to the reality in today's world, end of quotation. In quotation again, you should not just think that you are so strong just because you have the dollar, end of quotation, he said. So he's slamming the United States. And the tension continue. Credit Associated Press. And the main reason we are not getting any resolution from UN Security Council is because Russia and the United States are still at war, whether it comes to Ukraine or other matters. And the United States and the Western world put too much sanctions and removed Russia from the SWIFT transaction system. We are already under war. There is no direct war, direct military engagement between US and Russia, but indirectly through Ukraine, through different means of sanctions, financial sanctions, and removing diplomats from each other country. So we'll see. This tension is still there, and that makes the global community ineffective and more challenge for peace and the security of the globe, because there is no resolution we can expect from UN because of Russia and the United States. Okay, that's all I have for today's reading. Let's continue sharing a couple of videos. Okay. So the first video is Biden want to sell F-16 fighter jets to Turkey and urging Congress to approve this transaction. Let's listen to it.
Joe Biden is eager to begin selling F-16 fighter jets to Turkey. The U.S. president on Wednesday sent a letter to congressional leaders, urging them to approve the deal, quote, without delay, according to a U.S. official. In 2021, Turkey asked to purchase $20 billion worth of Lockheed Martin F-16s and nearly 80 modernization kits for its existing warplanes. The deal had been on hold pending Turkey's approval of Sweden's NATO membership. But after 20 months of delay, Turkey's parliament ratified the membership on Tuesday, clearing a hurdle for congressional approval of the deal and the expansion of the Western military alliance. The U.S. State Department on Wednesday urged Turkey to finalize Sweden's NATO membership. To do that, Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan needs to sign the legislation. State Department Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel noted Congress's role in the F-16 deal and declined to provide an exact timeline.
We also recognize that Congress has a key role in reviewing arms sales, but I'm just not going to confirm or get ahead of proposed defense sales or transfers until they are formally notified to Congress.
Key congressional committees review every major foreign arms sale. They regularly ask questions or raise concerns over human rights or diplomatic issues that can delay or stop such deals. In an interview with Reuters, Senate Foreign Relations Committee member Christian Holland expressed doubt on a speedy approval, saying lawmakers first need assurances from the Biden administration and Turkey. which he cast as a, quote, unfaithful NATO ally, while raising concerns about Erdogan's human rights record.
When it comes to Turkey, yes.
Just to be clear, many Jewish people internationally stand firmly on the side of human rights and freedom against this savagery in Gaza and have been out on the streets unprecedented numbers stating that very clearly. For more than 100 days, the people of Gaza have endured a humanitarian horror of unimaginable scale, a genocide broadcast to the world in real time, inflicted upon an impoverished refugee population by the apartheid Israeli regime that is hell-bent on erasing the Palestinian nation from the face of the earth. This is not conjecture. The Israeli government has not attempted to hide its objective. In fact, it has repeatedly, brazenly, and to devastating effect told and demonstrated to the world its aim: to slaughter the Palestinian people, to crush any chance of a free Palestinian state, to dismantle any hope of a two-state solution as mandated by UN resolution. As recently as the weekend, Mr. Netanyahu stated his vision very plainly. He said, "I will not compromise on full Israeli security control over all the territory west of Jordan, and this is contrary," he stated, "to a Palestinian state." And it's right that his comments have been resoundingly condemned, for these are not the words of a person even contemplating the notion of peace. These are the words of a man following a dehumanizing, supremacist, and frankly deranged vision. Before the eyes of the world, Netanyahu is determined to continue a genocidal campaign in Gaza. It is a relentless, barbaric assault that has seen more than 25,000 Palestinians slaughtered, including, as you have said, Tánaiste, the thousands of women and children. The Israeli military is killing 250 Palestinians every day. Entire families and communities wiped out. 1.9 million people displaced. Gaza's civilian infrastructure obliterated, with schools and hospitals decimated by a ferocious military bombardment. The people of Gaza face starvation and the catastrophic spread of disease. These actions are not defensive. These actions are war crimes. We see that the intensity of this bombardment continues mercilessly with the ongoing assault on the city of Khan Yunis, where it again attacks and lays siege to hospitals who are treating injured, sick, and dying people. The people of Gaza are a people threatened with annihilation. That is the situation, and it is to the very great shame of the international community that this atrocity is happening in full sight. Israel has been given free rein to commit its war crimes against the Palestinian people with impunity. And as the demand from ordinary people for a full and immediate ceasefire reverberates all across the globe, the Israeli regime thumbs its nose, continues its mass slaughter in Gaza. Why is that? Well, it's because the weak response of world leaders has told Mr. Netanyahu and his government and his military machine that they are untouchable, that they can shred international law without fear and without consequence.
Nobody can touch them.
Tánaiste, you were billing this motion as a motion demanding a ceasefire, but the word ceasefire doesn't appear in your motion. Where is it? Instead, it says an immediate stop to the death and destruction in Gaza. But why the semantics? Why can't you just say ceasefire? An immediate and full ceasefire is what's needed, and that is the call that the government should make, and that is the call that should be contained in your motion. Israel must stop its massacre in Gaza, and there can be absolutely no equivocation on this matter. What you do describe in your motion is mass slaughter, the deliberate destruction of civilian infrastructure, the displacement of millions, starvation, the destruction of hospitals and schools. You describe the very markers of genocidal actions, a blatant attempt to wipe out Palestinians, seize Gaza, and enforce a second Nakba. The question of the need for sanctions against the state of Israel is now answered without a shadow of a doubt. They must be sanctioned. Yet in this motion, government proposes to drive sanctions against illegal settlers alone. You seek to differentiate Israel from illegal settlements. Have we slipped into some alternative universe? These illegal, violent settlers who attack and displace Palestinians are armed, supported, and enabled by the Israeli state.
That's true.
It's state policy. They are part of Israel's colonial strategy to annex Palestinian lands. And the accountable party is the state of Israel. They act still under cover of impunity. And despite all of your rhetoric to the contrary, you demonstrate in your motion no seriousness about sanctioning illegal actions and breaches of international law. Tánaiste, that Netanyahu is telling the world explicitly what his aims are. And I think you need to listen to him. You need to listen to what he is telling you, and then there needs to be an appropriate, proportionate, and definitive response. And can I say to you that we are all conversant with the processes of the International Court of Justice, and we know the steps that must be followed to initiate a case in The Hague, to establish jurisdiction and the grounds for dispute. You've seen the endless footage of Israel's atrocities in Gaza. You've heard reams of heart-wrenching testimonies of doctors and international aid workers on the ground. And in the midst of undeniable genocidal actions, these steps should be urgently engaged by the government. If the case for making a referral to the ICJ against Russia was strong, well then the case for making one in respect of Israeli aggression is absolutely beyond dispute. I think South Africa has shown what it means to lead. They've demonstrated what it means to stand for humanity against genocide. And I think it's disgraceful that the Irish government would still equivocate, still hedge your bets. You fail in your motion to make absolutely clear that Ireland will support South Africa's case in The Hague. And I think that a very great shame. And let's be clear, there's nothing stopping you from bringing that type of clarity to the Dáil today. And if you did, or if you do, you will have, I believe, the full support of this House. The truth is, Tánaiste, that you say you will consider joining South Africa's case after the preliminary stages. And you say that as if the people of Gaza have all the time in the world, as if the abyss of genocide isn't a reality every day for the men, women, and children of Gaza as we speak. Gaza that has become the graveyard for children, for families, for people clinging to life and clinging to their very existence. Cathaoirleach, if this isn't enough for the government to stand up and take a case against Israel and join with South Africa in the International Court of Justice, then what will it take? When will it be? Because the people of Gaza are running out of time, and Ireland needs to act and be clear. Act and be clear now.
Okay, maybe one more.
What the? I forgot it's National Avocado Day. I can definitely do this. I need a video script for social media. It needs to feature like 5 ways to use avocados in recipes.
This is Israeli protest against the government of Israel.
We have almost 4 months of fighting or killing a lot of people. We've killed over 25,000 people, and we understand that only 20 to 30% of them are so-called Hamas. So it's ridiculous. It doesn't bring back the hostages. It doesn't serve us anything. It only harms the Israeli society. It harms the Palestinians.
Okay, we appreciate pro-Palestinian protesters in Israel. Thank you. It's a very tough thing to do over there. The government cracked down on some protesters before, even the parliament member for opposing the war, sanctioned, and some of the reservists refused to go to war on behalf of Israel, put in jail. So even though the only democratic country in the Middle East, still the reality on the ground is different. So we appreciate them for standing for justice, for speaking on behalf of Palestinians. And you are not surprised to hear Ireland Parliament aggressively talking and defending Palestinians and making a strong agreement against Israeli, exposing Israeli genocide and forcing the government of Ireland to stand like a man, like South Africa. You are not surprised about the silence of the neighboring countries of Palestine, Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. Did you hear any discussion in the parliament? I didn't hear. I heard their diplomatic corps support for ceasefire. I heard talk, a lot of talk. But did you see that much protest on behalf of Palestinians in Jordan this recently? No, no. I don't know what these governments are doing. Really, they are the one close by. They are the one who knows if it's genocide or not happen in the Palestinian ground. They are borderline, and they are supposed to be, the brotherly nations. They're supposed to show anger like the Ireland Parliament member. Ireland is far from there, and the British Parliament are far. South Africa is also far, but it's surprising those neighboring countries just being silent and getting ready to make business with Israel, make billions and billions of dollars, and being silent when their brothers and sisters are slaughtered by Israeli bombardment. Thank you, those expressing anger, frustration, and demanding justice on behalf of Palestinians, whether in Ireland Parliament or UK Parliament or on the streets of European countries and the United States and elsewhere, those global community. They are shouting peacefully. They are demanding. They are protesting for justice every day, even though nobody is listening to them, because Israel is untouchable, thanks to Biden's total support and Anthony Blinken repeated trips, advising them, providing money, gun, everything, making Israel untouchable, whether through United Nations General decision or Security Council or International Criminal Court. Nobody can touch Israel. Nobody can stop them. That's why they are emboldened But we should appreciate those voices of anger, those voices demanding justice for Palestinian people. And we are waiting to hear what this international court will decide tomorrow. This is a big news. Everyone is waiting if they can say, stop this war tomorrow and make Israel accountable. That is a big news we are expecting tomorrow. If I hear something, I will bring back to you as a breaking news. Or you can keep watching other news outlet for that update. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for joining me, and be safe. So long, everyone.